This is Progreso, a coastal town on the western side of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. This is about 30 miles north of where I'm staying for a month in Mérida. I decided to come over for a couple of days to check it out. Progreso was founded in 1872. It is a prime tourist spot with people coming for the beaches and cruise ships occasionally making a stop. I will spend the next few minutes showing what you will find if you ever decide to visit. Progreso sits on the northern edge of the Yucatan Peninsula in the state of Yucatan. It is about 20 miles north of Mérida, situated on the Gulf of Mexico. The town was positioned here to serve as the main port for the region. 150 years later, it remains the prime location for cargo coming and going. The waterfront is the town's commercial center, with so many businesses aimed at addressing the needs of visitors. Farther inland, it is similar to many other population centers in this part of the country. I spent 2 nights here and found plenty to make this a pleasant stop for those who vacation on the Yucatan. Lots of towns which sit on the ocean or another large body of water have a pier or two. Progreso does, and one of them is unlike any other pier on the planet. It is the world's longest pier, with Guinness recognizing its distance as just over 8,000 meters or around 5 miles. It is used by cargo and cruise ships because they are not able to navigate the waters that are closer into shore because they're too shallow. A pier was constructed here back in the 1930s. Modernization projects in the 1980s lengthened it to the dimensions it has today. Lots of goods flow in and out of the country on the commercial vessels which use the platform. It's also become one of the top cruise ports in Mexico. Passengers must take shuttles or buses to get into the town. Walking the pier, or even driving on it with a private vehicle, is not allowed. The depth of the water where ships dock is roughly 40 feet. While most people are not allowed on the pier, there is access underneath it. The wooden boardwalk here is known as the deck. In addition to allowing a unique view of the pier from below, there are a couple of interesting features. Murals depict the character Rocky Balboa and give motivational quotes from him in Spanish. There is also a bench containing 3 solid white figures, all depicted holding their cell phones. I am sure that this is some sort of commentary on modern life and the way that the technology in our pockets now consumes our attention. Most, however, just see this as an Instagram or social media opportunity. My first day in Progreso, I was out as the sun was going down. I caught a glimpse or two as it dipped below the horizon behind the water and the shore. I am certain that there are better spots from which to watch the sunset. This just happens to be the place where I was when it was going down. Still, the fishing pier is a place that you'll want to visit. It is dwarfed by the larger pier, but still, there's a significant slice of life taking place right here. The fishing pier comes in handy to get a nice view of the world record-holding pier. Just about 100 meters separates the two structures. Some enjoy it simply as a platform to use to get out over the water. Others like it just for the chance to pull fish from the Gulf. Fishing has always been an important part of life here. While the town was founded in 1872, this existed as a fishing village for centuries before that. There is evidence that the practice is still thriving. The beach near the piers are full of small boats, the kind typically used by fishermen looking to make a living from the sea. I passed by this spot many times, but I never saw any of the boats heading out or coming back in. Many people come to Progreso for the beach, or what they call here the playa. There are at least a couple of miles of soft sand fronting the Gulf. In general, there is not much wave action or surf. Plenty of amenities exist, which allow for enhanced enjoyment of the shoreline. Beach clubs are numerous, offering lounge chairs and cabanas. The sand seems wide enough that it would probably never be packed, although I'm told that in summer it is much more crowded. This section of the beach is designed to make the water accessible to all. There are measures in place to let people more easily reach the sand. A few breakwaters are also present to keep the area closest to the shore even calmer. It's said that floatable amphibious chairs are available, but I did not notice them when I passed this spot. Just off of the beach is this promenade, or Malecón. It stretches for about a kilometer to the east of the main pier. It can be a stunningly attractive walkway with palms and seating. This is highlighted by a vast number of restaurants and other shops lining the inland side. At the very end are a set of the Progreso letters. Near those sits this unique cafe. It's known as Casa de Pastel, commonly referred to as the wedding cake house. There is quite a resemblance. The Art Deco structure was built in the 1940s as a summer retreat. It was vacant for years, but has now been renovated and transformed into the cafe. This Malecón has plenty of people on it, no matter the time of day. Interestingly, it is not the only beachside promenade in the town.
It is like having two esplanades in one town. On this side of the pier, it is much more commercial and a lot more popular. On the other side, where the International Malecón is located, it is less developed and there are spaces for exercise and other leisure activities.
This stretch once was open to cars, but has been pedestrian only for a few years. The other pathway runs from the main pier to the west. This has the name International Malecón. The difference is noticeable immediately.
This is a relatively new addition to Progreso. It was inaugurated back in 2019. It is situated on the west side of the big pier. It is a beautiful space, and all of these palms that line the way are a great part of the attraction.
I enjoyed this more, just a walk that was steps from the beach and the water. In the morning, scores of people were out exercising and walking their dogs. One attraction at the very beginning of the Malecón, heading away from the pier, is this carousel. Even when not running, it attracts attention. There is even more in this direction. For me, that included an early morning soccer game on a pitch right by the sand. Another group was doing their morning training in the area. I also saw this group getting in their morning workout on both days that I was in town. Toward the end of the kilometer-long path, there were additional Progreso letters. This version was perched right on the sand. Each individual letter got special treatment with different colors and images. The water and the beach on this side of the pier don't get nearly as much traffic as the main playa. At least it didn't while I was around. You'll notice the seaweed. It was making a mess of the water and the sand on the days that I visited.
From what I have read, the presence of seaweed on the beaches here is not a persistent problem. Being on the Gulf of Mexico side actually protects it a bit, as opposed to those places in the Caribbean where this is a consistent problem. However, as you can see, this place is obviously not immune.
Sargassum has become a huge problem for many resorts in Mexico and through the Caribbean. Everything that I've read shows that large amounts in Progreso are relatively rare. In the water back closer to the main pier, there is a statue of Poseidon. It's 10 feet tall and stands several meters out in the water. This was erected in May of 2024, but not to the delight of everyone. The federal government says that proper permits were not secured for the statue. There is the possibility that it could be removed. The biggest attraction along the shoreline and either Malecón is here, and it is a new addition to the scene. It is the Progreso Museum of the Meteorite, which opened in the summer of 2022. The exterior of the building promises great things for those who go inside.
It is no exaggeration to say that this museum recounts one of the events that is among the biggest in world history. It was 66 million years ago. The dinosaurs went extinct because an asteroid struck the Earth. The point of impact was right here in the Yucatan.
This is a bit different than many museum visits. There are guided tours in English or Spanish which lead visitors through the space. That includes seeing fossils and replicas of fossils, animatronic dinosaurs, and even transit through a walkway meant to simulate going back in time. The asteroid strike is the most recent of the 5 major extinction events that have taken place on the planet so far. Being in the region of impact is a bit humbling. Within a couple of blocks of the beach is the main market, or mercado, in the town. This covers several blocks and is organized well. There are specific areas devoted to all the main types of stalls. Those include produce, with fresh fruits and vegetables, prepared foods featuring a heavy emphasis on the cuisine of the Yucatan, and fresh cut flowers, where shop owners are constantly creating new arrangements.
I don't think that I've ever visited a market anywhere when I did not enjoy myself. Each one is uniquely different. But on the other hand, there are elements that are familiar in every one, and that's no matter where you are in the world.
Local markets such as this are always among the first places I stop when going to a new town. They give an authentic view of the community and its people. It's generally better to go early in the day. A block or so away is a market that is open only on certain days. This is the artisanal tourist corridor. On my final morning in Progreso, local vendors set up to sell their crafts and souvenirs.
This is an indication of the cruise industry's impact on a town such as this. Yesterday, there was no ship in port and this place was closed. Today, Carnival is in town and this place is full and ready to greet passengers.
I saw a couple of shuttles drop off passengers from the cruise ship right at the entrance to the corridor. There weren't a great number of purchases right at the beginning, but that is understandable. My guess is that the shuttles pick up at the same location, so this will be the final opportunity for the tourists to grab an item or two before returning to the ship and heading off to their next stop. In that same general area is this colorful spot. It's the Alley of Love, or Callejon de Amor. Murals have been painted on some of the buildings to brighten up the environment.
This was created just in 2020 to enhance part of the port area and also elevate the tourist experience here. There are several nice pieces, but there are a lot of blank walls and plenty of space where this can turn into something incredible in the future.
Some businesses have gotten into the act by adding their own artwork to the scene. There is also a large mural on the side of a building just outside of the alley. It will be fun to see what this looks like in several years. Also in the tourist zone is this building. It's the Casa de la Cultura, or House of Culture. This serves as a community center of sorts, complete with library and meeting space. Upstairs, I found this art exhibit. Most of the pieces depicted the local area, and it appears as though all of them were from local artists. Word is that different exhibits are scheduled for this location throughout the year. Next door is the Progreso Lighthouse. Many times lighthouses are situated directly on the coast, but this is several blocks inland. Standing at a height of 36 meters or 118 feet, this was inaugurated late in the 19th century. It was once possible to get a closer look, but I understand that it has been closed to the public since 2005. At the heart of it all, just steps away from the main pier and on the older Malecón, is this piece. It's a statue of Juan Miguel Castro. This has been at this spot for right at 100 years. It received a facelift in the 1990s. I did not limit my time in Progreso just to the main tourist area. This is Parque de Independencia, or the Park of Independence. It is only 5 or 6 blocks from the waterfront, but it seems to be miles away.
Typically in a town such as this, the main square is very active. Tourists and locals come together and it becomes a very vibrant atmosphere. This doesn't seem like that to me. Yes, there are a lot of residents, but it's my guess that most of the visitors, they stay close to the area near the beach.
Late in the afternoon, there were a number of residents hanging out in the park. Decorations from the recent Day of the Dead celebration had not yet been removed. This attractive structure sits on the western side of the park. It is the City Hall of Progreso. This dates back to the very early days of the town. The architecture is quite appealing and is said to be indicative of civic design in Mexico in the latter stages of the 19th century. Across the square is this church. It is the Parroquia de la Purísima Concepción. or parish of the Immaculate Conception. It doesn't have the classic look of many of the churches I've seen in Mexico. Looking from beyond the closed gate, it appears that the sanctuary is open air. In wandering around the town outside of the tourist zone, I came upon Parque Morelos. It is a small green space in the midst of a neighborhood. Several different amenities are featured. Adjacent to the park is this structure called Arena Progreso. It's a decent-sized soccer stadium. If you were unaware that this neighborhood was just blocks from a center for tourism, you might mistake it for any other town in the Yucatan. The streets are a mix of businesses and homes. On the morning that I stopped by, people were simply going about their normal routines. There weren't as many places for coffee in Progreso as I would have guessed. I found Garden Coffee and went there both of the mornings that I was in town. The first day, I ordered a frappe.
The decision on what to get was relatively easy to make. It's been a long morning on a warm November day, and I certainly didn't want something hot. This is cool and refreshing.
This is situated directly on the Malecón, to the east of the main pier. Conversely, there's an abundance of restaurants in this town. One of the places that I ate was Boulevard 21. As expected in a place so close to the coast, seafood is big here. I ordered coconut shrimp.
I have seen coconut shrimp on the menu at quite a few restaurants here in town, and it gets really high marks in the reviews for this place. The shrimp is large, it's butterflied, it's coated with a lot of coconut, and from what I can tell, it is cooked just about right.
My brother Alan, who joined me for a couple of weeks in Mexico, also enjoyed what he found at the restaurant. When we arrived in Progreso, it was a bit early to check in, so we opted for a beer. Our stop was at Aladio's, where we were joined by dozens of other visitors.
It is cold, but this place does not have the best beer selection you've ever seen. You come here for one reason though, and it's not for the beer. It's because this place is literally sitting on the sand. The view and everything that's going on beyond is just phenomenal.
The vision of the white sand on the beach and the activity upon it was a highlight. Then, as a surprise, plate after plate of appetizers were brought to us to have with our beers.
This changes things a little bit. They just brought 9 different appetizers. So the view is probably still tops, but all of this food, that might come next.
This was fairly common in the Yucatan. You order a beer and get a ton of free food to go with it. For our 2 nights in Progreso, we stayed at Maria's Hotel Nictija. That is a Mayan term which means water flower and refers to a legendary story of forbidden love. The room was simple, but the common areas and the staff were outstanding. Cost for 2 nights was just over $100. There is plenty to experience for those visiting Progreso, either on a cruise ship or on their own. Most of the attractions are close together near the water, and it is easily walkable. I would say that 2 days is ample time to see what the town offers.
Progreso is a pleasant town. The waterfront along the Gulf of Mexico is really built for tourists, with restaurants, bars, and shops all set up to cater to that crowd. Walk a few blocks inland, and there is a much more Yucatecan feel to the streets. I am glad that I decided to visit. What is coming next? I am still dealing with the potential loss of video files, so I am unsure if I will have more from here in Mexico or just move on to my next location in El Salvador. I guess you'll have to come back to Old Alone and Far From Home to see how that all plays out. Until next time.